morning, Joe.
It's 100 and
I heard that 132 countries are going to vote for the...
Stand with us.
Yeah. Well, we don't really need this. Are going to vote for the nuclear weapons ban treaty this morning. And we're very excited. June 7th, 2017. It should have been 1970. But it's June 7th is an important day for us, and we love the 132 countries that are going to sign on to the nuclear weapons ban treaty. We wish it was 200, and we wish our country was signed.
Yes, our country. We have to definitely influence them. They're always talking about other countries and the nuclear, but they never signed the United States. Now the United States is always taking a lead. Now they really have to take a lead and sign the treaty.
Now, if North Korea hired you to make some arguments on their behalf, what would you say?
What would I say?
As far as being fair about nukes, they could bargain?
Yes, I think it's to be fair. We talk to other nations about nuclear arms, but we don't do anything about our own nuclear arms, and we don't sign the treaty ourselves. So, you know, if you are talking to other people and telling them what to do, then you have to do it yourself, and you have to set a standard. You have to, if you want to be a leader, then you have to take that position, and you have to talk and say, look, we're asking you, and we have done it. And that's strong leadership. You can't tell people something to do if you don't do it yourself, and you can't expect them to follow you if you don't do it yourself. We always talk about ourselves as being a democratic nation and a nation that loves humanity and loves its people and human rights. Well, human rights, that begins right there when you sign the nuclear treaty against ban the bomb. That's human rights.
Exactly. And nuclear weapons are the most undemocratic form of weapon that we can even think of, that one person in whatever country could cause so much destruction by giving an order to use the nuclear weapons, even threatening the use of nuclear weapons, which I believe is going to be part of this treaty also, is a humanitarian crime, which causes places like North Korea to feel like they need nuclear weapons because of the threat of nuclear weapons. The nuclear weapon states have threatened each other and threatened other countries.
I got a question for you, Booty.
This is Tom.
Does the U.S. owe North Korea an apology for what's been happening in the last 60 years?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
That war. I mean, what was that war all about, Daddy?
Yeah. That's a good question. A long time ago, I read this critical book on the Korean War of
Chomsky?
Pardon?
Chomsky? No.
No, of this great independent journalist.
Where they talk about the Dulles brothers?
No, where they talk about in the 10 days before the war started, the value of soybean futures skyrocketed. And most of the soybeans at that time coming from Korea. And yeah, so I think there's a lot to be learned from the history of the Korean War.
Yeah. So is the almighty dollar.
I think, in terms of apologies, I think one thing we don't do enough of is reconciliation and really allowing people's voices to come out and learn the truth so that we can have reconciliation. I know that there's a lot of people in both sides of the Koreas that are seeking that. And there were a group of women who crossed the demilitarized zone last year, led by women from all over the world. And that was a sign that we can find reconciliation. what gets us there, I think, is listening and understanding and reading history. And, it's an apology without a basis of understanding probably won't be as effective as really just waking up and thinking about how do we reconcile instead of ratcheting up the sanctions and ratcheting up all of the tension on the DMZ, because it's disastrous. I mean, I think no one has any solutions that are military solutions in terms of North and South Korea.
Now, in the war, as I understand it, we installed a puppet government in the South, as opposed to there being a popular appreciation for communism, government ownership of the economy. That's what the war was about. We didn't want to give communism a chance.
Well, around that time, certainly, that was the big fear. Communism was the bugaboo. Now we have terrorism as the bugaboo. It's so easy to get people all stressed out about some enemy or something that is bigger than an evil that you can't imagine. And it's not that hard to get people stressed and, in a way, prepared for military action. You have to, sometimes you got to turn off cable news and open up a book, or talk to people, or go to the United Nations, or step back a little bit, and don't get sucked into hating. That leads to conflict. That leads to use of even if it's not a nuclear conflict, it would be disastrous to have a conflict, any kind of conflict on the Korean Peninsula. We don't have a truce to that war. We should be seeking a way of resolving it. I know there's been efforts in that regard, but I'm not sure that all the players are acting in good faith. That's what you have to act in good faith.
Be a good showing of diplomacy. Now, diplomacy works.
Yeah.
They could really get together and do that. We always talk about diplomacy. Militarism doesn't work. It hasn't worked. It never works. People need to, as Sally, our board chair from Peace Action said, we've got to get there and talk to people and listen, and not just be biased. We have to have an open mind, open heart.
And this is a great day where there's some good news in the middle of all of the scary news that's out there. There's good news today, and we're celebrating that, because sometimes that can be a wave that helps change things. When people see an opening, and this is an opening, and how we use it is really the next test. How we in civil society use this. So I'm hoping that we'll all find a way, creative ways to use the nuclear weapons ban treaty, which is going to make it illegal to do anything around nuclear weapons. Enable them in any way. And even non-nuclear weapons states, they enable nuclear weapons. Either they're part of the umbrella of nuclear weapons of either Russia or the United States, or they're part of the whole supply chain of uranium, which has affected so many people in many areas of the world, from the mining, or the results of the testing, or the results of the production. So it's there's many ways that we can use this treaty to call attention and hopefully find the weak links. Find the weak links in this whole nuclear weapons state monopoly, and let's break it down.
The nuclear economy to a peaceful economy.
Yeah.